go. All right, I got a new, kind of a new setup over here. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm gonna try it out. I'm off the kitchen table. I've got my own little area for recording and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna look at this right here. This is it's from the Amazon Warriors book from I call him Jeff Easton, Ledge Easton. I'll put a link down in the description for this image. But what I want to do is I want to focus on hue versus color, value versus chroma. So these the three main issues of color theory that you'll have to traverse. You got to get through it. So I'm just helping people push through this theory, color theory, in a productive way instead of a daunting task. So let's be productive in our learning. Maybe not in our image. That's okay. Progress isn't pretty. We're going to move through this using theory, and then as you go, as you catch on and start grasping more of the theory of color, then you'll start to reflect that in your image. And you're not going to do it up front, so don't be light on yourself. Be lighthearted. Have fun with it. If you mess up and it's goofy, that's okay. Put it aside. We're printing these out, so we can just go to our printer and whatever we want to work on is there. I've got plenty of these printed out. Plenty of other images that I'm playing with and working with, and just pushing through this theory and trying to pick up where I'm at in my journey. Is that I've really found out that this color flame from Derwick Chroma Flow is a really nice base skin tone now. There was all kinds of colors I've had in other videos, and those work. I just found that I'm getting a better result out of this one. And coming into it, it's pretty ugly. I like to fold one of my edges up like that. So I got something I can move up here and control my image with. So that's what that's for, because I'm a page turner. I'm sure a lot of others are out there like that too. And if you're having issues with applying your pencil, just remember to go very lightly. We're just touching little whispers, just little. We're not having a long conversation with this page. We're just kind of whispering to it. Hey, I want this there. I want a little bit up here, like that right there. So we're just coming in and we're touching these areas and just giving it a little love. Just coming in, having a little whisper with it. No big conversation. We're not trying to make some huge statement. We're not on some podium having to give some description to this. We're just saying, hey, you know what? I want a little bit of this here. I want a little bit up here, kind of thing, And we're just coming in, we're making some kind of definitions is what I like to call it. We're just coming in saying, hey, this is what you're going to be. See, we're just going to add some color in there, giving it some love. We're hanging out in these shadowy areas, kind of bringing that down into these shadowy more than, see how we're kind of hanging around these shadowy areas and these little darker areas. We're just coming in, making little statements here and there, giving it some love. Okay, we want some of this over here. Yeah, something like that right there, Trying to find a good position I can stay in for a second here. That's why I don't really zoom in really close to my image, is because, I'm a page turner. I'll be way over here eventually. So I put this paper down to say, okay, you guys at least stay on this paper right here. So, and I'm learning. So I said in the beginning, the kind of the topic we want to go is hue versus color. So are they one and the same? You could say that, but if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to get a little bit more in depth, a little more just a little bit, dial it to a little bit more of the technical side of it. I picture a hue as your basic colors, your blues, your reds, yellow, orange, violet, green, blue, green. Let's call those a hue. Something you can say, hey, this is orange. Okay, I know where orange is on the color wheel, right? Hue is when you dial it into a specific. I'm sorry. Color is when you dial it into a specific color. So now we can look at this and say, okay, well, this one right here is orange, basically, right? But then they're calling it flame. Okay, well, now I know where I'm at on the color wheel, because I can go to my color wheel and track down where flame falls on the color wheel. Then I can kind of look at it and gauge, who's across the color wheel from it. What color is the opposite. Contrasting color, you want to say? Okay, we can say it's a contrasting color. So I'm coming in and I'm just making these little details here in definitions into where I'm going with this. I know I got another ear. I always forget the ears. So we're just coming in and putting this in. And you notice we're not doing that much, and we're taking a lot of time, right? That's okay. This is kind of the setup to where we're going. And we're going to get out into this lighter area, then our orange is going to look really orange. Because we're going to judge our values, which is our shade. Our values are our shade, light to dark. Darker up under where the light's not touching. That's how it works. Light comes in, it hits this area, it turns around and reflects back to your eye. So you can see what color it is. So that's what we're dealing with. Now when the lights, say in this area here, it's affected. That's the value. It's going to be darker back there, right? So we're doing also, what is value versus chroma? Well, chroma is the intensity of a color. Now we know it went in there, that intensity dies down some because of the value. Not enough of that color is returning around and reflecting back to your eye. So it's going to make it darker in these areas. And that's what we're going to work with right now. So we're just going to establish one rule today, right now. We're going to say, we're going to pick a hue. We wanted an orange. We picked a color. We came in, said, okay, flame's going to be that color within that hue, this one. Right now it's going in the highest chroma. This right here is the chroma. Boom, really high. But when it hits these shadowy areas, the chroma dives down. It has to. It's not as intense in these darker areas. Value affects that chroma. See there? So we get a little bit darker down in there. Now we're working with grayscale, so of course it's going to automatically do that as you go. It's no longer flame. Forget this now. We're done with flame because we went in there, we changed its properties, we moved it to a darker color. Up here, I'm going to come across here lightly. Now the white of the page is affecting that color also. It's no longer this intense. See, I can come here and just build up chroma, chroma, chroma. Up, 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 up. Look how bright that's getting, right? Versus this lighter areas here where I just barely, kind of whispered to it, right? And that's what we're doing over here. We're kind of whispering to our image. Let me get my tip straightened out. Make sure you're keeping your tip really straightened out. There we go. So let's put some more in there. Just doing a nice smooth touches here, kind of lightly going. Now we're in this lighter area. Just remember in your head, when you cruise over this lighter area, it's no longer flame. That's flame. This is where we're good. We're doing this. We're doing this really light color right here. It's not flame. It's this. It's more of a peach, right? So it changes as you move across lighter and darker areas. Back in the darker, we can call it something else. Maybe this is called a light peach. Maybe this is a dark peach over here. Because we're not putting a lot of chroma into there, right? We're not putting the actual color in. We're sticking in the same, we're in the same hue. We're still in the orange area, right? And that's where you find all your skin tones, no matter what, if you're doing a light skin tone or a dark skin tone. Look at this down here. This, if we were working on a darker skin tone, that would be almost perfect. Look at that beautiful dark brown color. So when orange crosses over with black, it becomes a nice brown. When orange crosses over with a white color, it becomes that peachy, let's call it a skin tone. Peach, light peach. Here we go. We're in this area right here. See? Now we'll still use these colors later to kind of bring up the chroma a little bit and stay in the zone of this color, peach. We're always going to be, these right here are orange. If you were to think of, well, what's the hue? Orange, orange. So we're still there. This is a yellow hue, right? We call it cream. That's the name of the color. That's the color. But the hue is still yellow. This is a canary yellow. That's the color. What is the hue? Yellow. Okay. So we're just getting some of these little definitions out of the way so that we can understand color theory a little better. And this, the good thing is that it doesn't matter what medium you're traveling through. If you're a oil painter, you like acrylics. Oh, you're a watercolor painter. Beautiful. This all plays through. You can practice all day with these pencils. Let's say you give it 6 weeks or whatever with a pencil. You pick up this lesson. Well, guess what? You got a license now to move on to another medium and still carry your knowledge. It's going to travel with you no matter where you go. You can't get away from it. You can cut out the hue and the color and the chroma and pick up some graphite pencils, and you could just play with values all day. You know what I'm saying? You can get in there and just have a ball with some values. And I would really suggest to do that. Get in there and practice. If you want to really practice your values, then go straight in with some nice graphite, or some grays or whatever you want to. If you want to stick with your colored pencils, and understanding the grayscale, very important, because I'm working on grayscale. It's kind of nice to, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm looking at. So I got all these nice dark areas up here. I'm gonna add a little bit more, not color. I'm gonna add a little bit more chroma up in there. Pick up the chroma, because it died down. See, now I just picked it back up. So now we've got this face here. We've got our neck done, right? So the next step is to come in, and I go to the opposite of this color, which is going to be a blue. I could get the electric blue, or I can use my cyan, which is in Prismacolor. Cyan is that photo, non-photo blue. And I'm going to get that non-photo blue because I got a good understanding of cyan and how it plays out. So I'm going to take these opposite colors and I'm going to start cooling off. I'm going to cool off some of these shadows right here with a blue, which is a cool color. Our orange obviously is a warm color. And I don't want this to be all warm and fuzzy up in here. I want to cool it down underneath this and around this eye here. Just because I want to start pushing this eye in there. So think of this right here. If you were to take, I'm just going to use something I can point with. It's not going to make a mark. Okay. If I come in and touch her nose, pretend I'm the light. I come in, I touch the nose. It's going to reflect back a lighter color. It's not going to be the same chroma. It's going to be different. It's going to come in. It's going to hit that. It's going to take the color of that flame. It's going to lower the chroma, just as if it was going into the dark, right? Still, the chroma's got to dive. It's got to do something. So it's going to come in, it's going to hit there and come back to my eye as more of a light peach color, right? That's here. That's the nose. Let's say on the face, that's the furthest sticking out. So then maybe this area here, this area under the chin also. So we're looking at where the light's hitting, and on this cheek right here, this light's hitting this cheek here, coming back. But as it goes over, it's going to get darker and darker, less light, less light, less light, less light. So the chroma's got to go with it. The values are moving, the chroma is moving, everything's got to go with it. So you're going to get a darker skin tone. It's going to go that way. To a lot of people, this may sound, oh, that's elementary, but still, it's something you have to think about. You have to get your focus on that. So now I'm going to look at just coming in and giving myself some more definitions, like under like these lips right here. Now I'm working with the hue red, but we're going to go down to a color. This is Scarlet Lake. It's my favorite red. So now I can start pushing this red in there, and I want to get some red, but also when I hit these lighter areas, it's not going to stay red unless I plow into it, right? Otherwise it's going to be this nice little pinkish color, as it's light. Really high chroma, very lower chroma. Chroma's got to dive down, and it's going to change to more of a pink. Well, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of pink up here. So I'm just going to lightly go over that, and I'm going to get my pink. Now when it hits that dark area, it's going to dive down. The chroma's going to dive. The values are going to start coming into play. It's got to be darker, so less of that is going to come to me. So now I can have that nice pinky look around, and I've got some dark areas. Now this is just the first definition, right? And there's more to go. I might want to have a little bit of a pink right under that eye there. Maybe a little bit over here. And if I go light enough with this red, I'll get a pink. There it is. So I got that. Maybe a little sun has touched her nose, and let's do a circle. So we know now we're up here. We're gonna stay away from that light area. We'll add a little bit of that there, and maybe right up along this edge right here, and give her a little bit of sun touched right in there. See there? Just giving her some love. There we go. Now we're gonna look at this eye. I'm gonna kind of come across here and look. Now I know this cheek, you know what I'm saying? It's got a shape to it, and that's called contour. So we're dealing with contour now. And I'm just going to come into this area, and I want to make it like, the sun's been here, and she's got a little bit of red, a little bit of flushed cheeks here. So we can come in with this right here. And if you want to, there's nothing wrong. Let's go ahead and do it one time. Let's come in with our pink here. Let's just say, okay, we're just going to jump to the pink here. We're going to add that in. And this is going to do the same thing that the red was doing, basically. You're not going to see much of a difference here. See there? So you're not really... I use the red because I like to go to the source. I have more control. If I would have went in with pink on the lips, I wouldn't have been able to get those nice, dark, shadowy, areas that I wanted. I wanted to save the chroma. This chroma here from this pink is going to dive off a lot faster. So I'm just adding in. So I'm not too worried. I'm not making these little gestures. I'm not just coming in and saying, okay, I'm gonna color this. And I've watched videos and people say always do these little circles. Go, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. But you're just coming in. You're just whispering, right? You're just saying, here's some pink right in here. I really want to bring that out. Maybe you got a little bit right here on your forehead. And I'm hugging next to where the shadows are, kind of staying out of the lightest areas. Because I know that the chroma is going to dive down in those light areas. So just leave them light for now. Don't worry about it. Maybe we'll come back with a cream or something like that. And we'll come in and play in those areas. There we go. So we just know about a little bit. Let's do a little bit right in here, right along that, right next to the light. She's got a Let's kind of wrap this up and make a nice cheek definition. We're right up on those cheeks, kind of figure a triangle here. So we'll come in here. There we go. So remember, our overall hue here is orange and red. That's the only colors we've been, only hue we've been messing with, right? We didn't have to, we got a couple different colors. We got this rose, and we got our Scarlet Lake, but we didn't worry about color. We were more worried about getting the right hue. There we go. Because now we can start pushing this around, right? Look at there. We got nice definition of light, light, light. Got a little bit right there. We can bring this up if we wanted to. And see that chroma dive down. It really didn't matter what color I used in there. And I lost my flame. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna come back with my flame and do this right here and kind of do it. I'm not really going back and forth. I'm just going one way. There we go. Good. It's going to glaze over that a little bit right there. I'm just going to glaze right on through our light area here. Let that chroma just take a dive. There we go. There we go. So we've gotten that far. Let's do a little blue in our eyes here. I'm just going to take this right here, which is that non-photo, we're going to call it cyan. We're just going to touch into her eyes and define that, okay, it's going to be blue. There we go. And then I like to kind of, I don't know if you call it, church it up a little bit. So I'll come in with another color, which is actually blue. And I like to come in with a sharp pencil first. Let me sharpen this pencil real quick. Kind of show you how I'm doing this. I know I've showed this on a lot of videos, but you know, don't worry about my image too much. About, oh, you're gonna get whatever on your image. It'll be all right. Doesn't matter too much. Get a little bit of love. There we go. There. Throw that off to the side. I just don't want it under my image. That's worse than anything. So now I'm just gonna come in and touch a few areas and make it not that other blue. Kind of make it something else. Just to. It doesn't matter what color you went in with. Could have went in with purple or something like that, you know. There. So we just gave it something else. And I'm just going to touch some of these areas that are, let's call it gold. I'm not going to go grab a gold metallic color. I'd rather not deal with that. I'd rather do a non-metallic gold. They call it non-metallic metals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to figure the same rules apply wherever the light's touching. Then this probably not going to be too yellow, you know. And gold's really not yellow anyway. Gold's kind of a more of a sandy brown look to it, but it has its moments on an item where it really shows that yellow through. So we're just going to put it there as a definition. And then what gold does, it kind of reflects everything around it. You know, if I look at my ring, I'm seeing all these. Yeah, I do see some yellow, but it's mainly all the other browns and stuff around it. So we can come in with brown and start making that kind of show. Come in and start pulling that brown into there, and maybe right next to where the light is. Sometimes, you know, put a little brown mark there. But I don't want to get too involved in it right now. We'll save that for, you know, when we're cleaning up at the end of the image. we'll deal with that then. But I got brown in my hand. I'm just gonna push this back. Push this back. There we go. Let's push some stuff. We don't want it to be that bright. Let's just push it on back, get it out of our way. See that ear just kind of wrap around the side of her head there? Same thing over here. Just get that back out of the way. There we go. And guess what? We're still orange. Think of this as orange. Brown is orange. You take black, you can take your orange, mix them together, it's going to push brown. So we're using brown. Hey, we can do that up here too. Yeah. There, let's just lightly go into that brown. And it'll start to pull down the chroma, add in values, pushing stuff back to where it should be in the image, you know. A lot of the stuff don't belong right up front, right? Especially under that nose. Look at that big shadow. Let's define that shadow. There we go. Maybe the tip of that nose. And we'll come in with actual black later. Let's go ahead and pretend you know where that red was earlier. Let's define that a little bit better. Or just small whispers, just coming in. We did the blue. Blue is a cool color. And think of it as a car driving towards you. Warm, 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 warm. You know, because it's moving closer to you. It's going to be like a warm color. But as it passes you, let's say you turn around and it's going away from you, it's going to be bluer and bluer and bluer and bluer and bluer. Think of like the Doppler effect, you know? It's going to be cool back here, cool under here, warm out front. So we're just adding in some definitions right here. Playing around in our shadows. See, we're not putting a lot of effort and a lot of thought into it. It's just, it has to be something. It has to be either light or dark. So you know, you can split that to a medium. Say, well, I want dark over here and light kind of right, you know. And between these, that's where I really want. Well, I really want my light to show up right there, right? And that's gonna play through. Look, right on through the image. And over here, another section. And this right here is all dark, 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 except for it's getting some light out here, right? So let's leave that where it is. It's not complete. That's just the baseline. We got it right to that baseline. Now let's move down a little bit and let's work on this right here, because a lot of times leather and things like that can pose an issue, especially if you jump in and say, well, it's leather, brown. No, leather, brown is orange. Orange is where we need to go. Let's go back to our skin tone. We need to come in with this orange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hug right in these areas right here, right? We're going to make a very nice leather. We're going to move in and we're going to put orange in there, right? You notice when it hits that black or the darker values, guess what? It moves to a brown. Does that look orange or is it brown? You know what I'm saying? What is this? Oh, it's not orange, is it? It's not flame. It's something else. We pushed that color. We moved it. Yeah, we're using this, but it's not where we're ending up, you know? It's like it's not a crash landing, right? We thought about it. This is exactly what we want to happen. It's like a mathematical equation. Orange plus black equals brown. So let's go there. All right. So we put that in there. God, that's really nice. Now see how bold that light area is now? Bam! It just, because the chroma's not there. There's no chrome. There's the chroma has died off because of the bright. It's just kind of, we're just going to hover over it now. Just really lightly glaze that color so we can pick the chroma up a little bit. There we go. So we still got it. It's still there. Now how do we make that more bright? Oh, let's add white. No, 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 no. Work off the edges of it. Play around it. Darken, get everything else. It's where it's supposed to be. You don't need to brighten it up. It'll be way out here where there, you know, where there are other parts. I'm not going to mention any parts here, but for other parts which are brighter, we don't want that. This is one color or one intensity, let's say, hitting here, more light, a little bit less, but nice enough to show up. So let's work down here. Now we'll take our brown in. Now we can come here and we can play in these darker areas. Let's push some browns here. Let's push some browns there. Let's come up here. And you notice we're not doing all those little circles and stuff. We're just, it needs to be there. Let's put brown there, right? All right. We'll worry about pencil technique when we understand the colors. Why would you come in here and try to be, you know, the greatest pencil techniques if you don't understand color? You need to understand color first, and then you go practice on your little circles and stuff and making a beautiful, a beautiful, I don't know, smooth, creamy. You know, people use all these terms. It's like, oh yeah, it's smooth and creamy, but you don't know anything about chroma or values. Yeah, you're the creamiest one out there, but it doesn't make sense. You got your color all goofy. It doesn't belong there. Like, it's creamy as it is. It's not working. So there we go. We've come in and let's just, and the closer you can get sometimes to that light area with your darker color, yeah, it's gonna make it pop a little bit better. So we're gonna sneak up on it, you know, kind of like just being sneaky. Get right up there. And don't get me wrong, I am using some technique here with the pencil, but I'm not going to emphasize it too much. I don't want you to worry about it if you're just beginning. Don't get caught up in that. Get caught up in chroma, color, hue, value, things like that. Get caught up in that, and then worry about your pencil technique when it's going to make a, when it's going to actually matter that you come in with a nice, you know, skilled pencil technique. So I'm not using it right now, not worried about it, just dabbling a little. Okay, so all right, we got our orange in there, which is brown. It looks brown. It's leather now. I didn't come in there with white and all that stuff. Now we can later. Let's just don't do it right now. Let's get our color base done. So now we've got that, and there's some little things, like little highlighted areas. I'm just gonna give it something to say something is there, like this little, maybe it's like a little gold clip, and we just look, boom, boom, it's something. I even missed that one. Oops. Okay, so we're doing something in here. We don't know what it is. We can't tell. We didn't draw it, so I don't know what it is, but I'm just gonna give it a little love around the edges there. Just something. There's a spot there, maybe that. There, it's something, right? So we're just gonna do something here, just putting a line. There, and we'll do something up here. I don't know. Maybe it's not gonna end up looking actually like gold little clips or anything, but it's gonna be something. We needed something. There we go. We're just gonna little trinkets or whatever they are. Boom, 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 boom. There, maybe a little bit right there. Okay, so we got something going on up here. Good, good. Boom, align. We'll keep it. I'll take it. I messed up. I went out of bounds, but don't really care. There. Don't ever get hung up on the small stuff. There we go. So we did something, right? Now, we can come in and play now with our blues, let's say. We can come in because we know we're dealing with orange. What's brown? Brown is orange. What's the opposite of orange? Blue. Now we can come in with everybody's blue. Dealing with the color and stuff. I don't care about the color. Who cares? I want to deal with the chroma. I mean the hue. Blue. Okay, so I got a blue. I'm just going to come into the shadows, and I'm going to push some blues. I'm going to cool them down a little bit on this side over here, right? Just a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Something's in there and it's blue. That's all that matters. Okay. A little more blue, a little more blue. Ooh, let's get into some blues over here. Boom, 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 boom. There, cooling it down, cooling it down. Cool, cooler, cooler. Really cool. All right. Wow, I like it. So now I'm come back and pick up in those areas that got a little bit too blue. It's all right. We're gonna touch it a little bit with this orange. This is how you control. You do something, then you look at it and say, okay, I need to, let's push it back a little bit. We got crazy, right? So there. Now up here, let's go ahead and define these areas up here because we really didn't give it any love at all. Let's give it some love. There we go. We'll get it right on up there. All right, so we got a nice leathery look that's showing something. And now we can still play around with the values a little bit. We can come in here and say, well, we kind of need black in there. Let's find a black. I got it somewhere here. Here, dude. Use this right up front. All right, here's a black. Come on, Tip. All right, so I got a black. Let's go. Let's just put a few areas because we really, the color from this spot right here is not going to hit my eyes. And you're like, wait a minute, we just put all that nice pretty yellow in there to pop, make that pop. Yeah, it doesn't belong there though. And sometimes you can do something really pretty and something really cool, but it doesn't belong, so you just gotta sacrifice it. You say, hey, enjoy it for the moment and say, okay, well, you look pretty cool. I like the way you're popping, but you don't belong in the image there. You can't be that bright there. And you just have to sacrifice it and let it go and basically kill it. But it's for the overall good, you know. You got to stay true to your values and stuff. All right, so we're just going to darken some of these areas up a little bit. There we go. And then we can still live with ourselves. Yeah, we killed all that nice, pretty, bright stuff, but in the overall scheme of things, we did the right thing. It had its moment in the sun, and now it's gone. There we go. All right, so now that dark that I just put really brightened up that spot, and we didn't do white, right? Cool, because white, when you start adding white to stuff, it dives the chroma down so much. It's like boom, and it's like hitting it with a bowling ball, bam, and it just messes things up. So we're gonna stay out of it. Okay, let's come up here into the shirt area and the upper torso. Let's look at this right here, and let's say, okay, let's go with pink. Okay, oh, let's grab pink. Nope. What are we dealing with? What's your hue? Red. Okay. So let's go with red. What makes red? Oh, it's a primary color. You can't make red. Oh, yeah, you can. Magenta. And yellow. I'm sorry. Yeah. Magenta and yellow will make red. Okay. I don't like playing too much with yellow in it because yellow is very potent. It's kind of like white. Any of those light colors, when you start messing with them, they're so potent. That's why I use them in the shadows a lot of time. I'll come into the shadows with white, but I don't want to. I want to. It's a different thought process. So we're not going to go on that tangent right now. We're going to deal with our tangent right here. So we know that what makes red is magenta, but we also know. There we go. That would take a lot of yellow, and we're gonna kind of because we know that, what we also know is that pink is derived from that red. So you take the magenta, you take the yellow, yellow cruises past orange, and as more magenta hits it, it turns red. And then you turn the corner, you say, okay, now I want to go to pink. And from that red, you start adding white, and you'll dive it down into pink. So in these darker areas where the you're not going to see a lot of that, I like to go ahead and add this little bit of magenta in there. Just kind of have it in there, because it's going to make it look better. It's going to be a nicer pink. I've seen a lot of videos on like people, like if they're doing Santa Claus, they'll jump onto that red fabric that he has everywhere on him, and they'll jump in there with red. It's like, oh, good luck creating definitions. Once you get all that red on there, it's like, man, you're gonna be in trouble, because now you don't have any wiggle room other than white. And you get caught up in there with white, and then everything's gonna go pink, you know. It's like if I get caught up in yellow on this one, I'm not gonna be very happy. I would rather use red to get the pink, but I'm gonna help my reds out by coming in with this magenta first. I'm just gonna add, you notice I'm hugging the shadowy areas. That's where you're gonna need it. Because in these shadow areas, you can actually go red and keep it there with that pink and still say, oh, it's pink. It's hard to explain, but I'm doing my best. So now I've got this magenta in there. There we go. All right, so we got the magenta going, and now we are going to go with some red. Very lightly. I'll start pushing this red in there. I want to stay with the contours, because anytime you're dealing with the fabric, clothing and stuff, you kind of want to stay with the contours of what's going on. Because the threads stay with the fabric. The thread texture goes with it, you know. So you kind of want to show it a little love if you want that texture to show through. So I'm just building up, worrying about what hue I'm in, and I know I'm in red. So we'll dial in a color here in a little bit, because there's a lot of ways we could go. If we come in with some blues, we come in with some purples, things like that. Basically, that's where I want to be. Now I can come in. I like this rose pink, basically. It's one of my favorite Christmas colors. I'm going to come in and bring it into all this and get some mixing going. If I were to worry about my pencil technique, this would probably be the spot that I did it in, so I get a good mix. I'm gonna do this. This is just gonna be a glazing. I need the color to move through here. I understand the light's gonna knock down the chroma, and that's cool. That's what's gonna happen right now. So I'm just gonna move this pink. I'm gonna try to do it in such a way that I create texture. And this is not a back and forth. This is a push. It looks like I am, but it's more of this. More just pushing with the contour. Maybe the contour's this way too, and it is. You'll have overlapping, it's a weave. Clothing is weaved together, so think about that other direction too to get that weave look. And take into account, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, take into account that when I push down the paper and let up, see, there's like an air bubble. It's like a pillow it's floating on. Take that into account so that when you do go and you lift up, you let that relax and then go back into it, you know? Down, up. So remember it's sitting on like a pillow of air underneath there. Now, I'm not adding more pink here in my mind. I'm picking up the chroma along this edge right here. I need more chroma in like a neutral area around here. I need more chroma, right? I don't need it in this circle of lighter area. I need less chroma there because the light affects it in such a way that the color is not going to come back to me in the same manner. Back here I can start pounding in this chroma, letting it show up. Now yes, the shadow does affect the chroma too, but I plan on going into the shadow to make this look better. I don't plan on coming into here too much, you know, kind of pick and choose. I'm going to come into the darker areas and push them away from this. I'm not going to try to highlight as much as I'm letting my color theory do that for me. I'm just kind of glazing over really quick. Now, when you're going back and forth like this right here and you're doing a glaze, think of a point here off the area and a point here off the area. Move past that and then turn around and come back. You know what I'm saying? Do a wide sweep. That way you're not affecting your, you know, your area there. So I'm just adding it till I like it. I like the intensity. I've got some color in here, right? So as I push now, I'm going to pull back. And now if I wanted to stay in red, I could, but I like using dark brown, which is an orange, which is just next door to red. It's a very close color. So I can use this orange. Hopefully you're following along. I can use this orange in this area because they're kind of bedfellows. They're close to each other. They're friends, you know? And the only thing that separates them is a little bit of yellow and a little bit of magenta, right? So we know we got some magenta in there, which is going to bolster our color. It's hard to do, you know, switch between the two, whether you're playing with color, you're playing with hue. Basically, you're kind of doing the same thing all the time. So now I'm gonna start pushing this darker because I know there's not as much light. My light's coming in. It's reflecting back to my eye here. It kills that pink. Takes the chroma down. Comes back. It should look really pink around here, where it's just like the let's call it local color. That's another word. Write that down. Local color. Your local color is this right here. That's your color. So around these areas here, I can really have a nice pink, especially right there. Look, let's go ahead and get into that. Let's make this just a local color, just really nice and pinkish looking. Right there. There we go. And then it comes down here. We're gonna kill that chroma back here. And we could be using black if you're new at this and you're just getting into it. Let's don't trust yourself with that black yet. Not so much in some of these areas. You know, work on that skill with your values and stuff, and then start pulling black. And you hear teachers, if you were to take an art class, oh, don't use black on your image. And well, you can. What they're trying to do is save you some frustration, because using a black pencil and a white pencil, it really takes some skills. You really need to step off and do some value color, compositions, and work on that, and then you'll get a feel for it better. And it's not saying anything bad about you or anything, but you really kind of need that primer, let's say, to get in there and understand how it's going to work before you go diving into it. I can get brown, this really dark orange, let's say, and I can push in there and knock out some of that chroma, you know. It's gonna deaden it. There we go. So there we go. Now, if I wanted to come in here, let's say with a yellow and start picking up, pushing more, let's say it would push more to the back up, let's say, up to the red because of the magenta. You could do that. But I wouldn't say come in with yellow. I would rather you come in with like a cream. It's got a little white mixed into it, you know. So it's yellow, but we'll call it cream. So you could come into some of these areas and push that to get that chroma to pick up some. But then you got to really think about coming back with that magenta. So I can come in around these areas right here with this cream to kind of pick it up a little bit, you know. But I'd rather you come into the darker areas and push it maybe with a red, you know, if you wanted to pick up a little bit. We just killed all this chroma for a reason. I really shouldn't be adding it back in, but just showing you know, if I was to come in and maybe make some definitions of these lines here, I would do that. Now, let's take our black pencil after we said let's don't. So I like contradicting myself every chance I get. I'm going to come in because I feel I've practiced enough with black to understand what it's going to do. And because I need to push some stuff away, I really need to push this a little bit further. There's not a lot of this is going to reflect back the same, right? So I'm going to come in and start pushing some of this back up in these areas. I'm just giving it a little whisper, just whispering. Staying with the contours. There we go. Just a little bit. So I think we've got that to where I like it. I think I can live there. It's doing good. So now we got the other side. We could do that. But let's go down into like this belt area right here, because I'm probably not going to finish this right here. But let's go down into this belt area and let's think about it. Okay, well, she's got these pants things on, and just to stay kind of keep things together in the composition, you maybe not want to have this just sitting out there in the open. You may want to bring it down. Let's bring it down to these pants right here, right? And I'm gonna just for the sake of having something there to make a definition, I'm gonna say let's keep this pink, right? And we're just gonna put it there for now. We can come back later and deal with it, just so we can see the overall composition. And maybe up here we'll do that little bit of pink right there, just to say that's defined. We know it's going to be pink, right? And we got it there. I think we'll just play through with the pink on this right here. So I'm just going to put some there. All right, so we did that. Now you may want to go ahead and pull your skin tones down into here. If you wanted to do something like that, you could probably just come in and say, okay, well, let me show you how fast and once you get going, how fast you can make this definition. And I've got some lines there. I'm not too worried about it. I basically just want to get something going here, right? Stay with the shadows at first, let's say. Come in. Pick out something like this is a triangle here. All right, let's do the triangle. There, we got it. There's another triangle right here. All right, let's catch that triangle. There we go. We did that one. Here's another little triangle here. We'll do that one. And we'll come across this. There's a triangle right there. See it? Let's do that little triangle. This is how you can get across a plane. Like this area right here is like a plane. A wide area, open, like a field. This we'll cut out little plots and we'll make them. Here's now there's another, and it usually ends up being triangular, and that's cool. All right, so we're gonna hit that right there. And just so, because of the bubble under the paper, that's pretty much what's causing these lines. I went too fast. We're not gonna worry about them though. I guess in the overall big scope of things, you know, 6 months down the road, then you worry about them. I'm not gonna worry about them right now. You can deal with them later when you've got your color theory worked out. All right. I'm just gonna kind of glaze around here. Get some glaze in there, and I'm gonna come up here and glaze this over. Pick up the chroma. Pick up this chroma. Pick it up down here. Alright, I'm gonna let that slide now. Now see how that chroma is not really intense through this area right here where that light's hitting it really hard. Alright, we're just gonna give it a glaze, and I'm just gonna, because I really don't care right now. But I want you to be able to visualize what's going on. So now I'm gonna stop this and restart it so I can do my editing later. All right, I'm back. All right, so now we're gonna look at this area down here. We're gonna come in with our orange here, and we're gonna start adding it in, because I want this to be that brown, basically, that is here. Alright, so I push the color in, come back and play with it. Now, I personally, I would just come in with my black and do this. But I'm going to use dark brown right now, just to help those that are newer and maybe not be ready to come into an area with black. I'm just going to show you how you can get there. Staying out of that light area right there. Pushing, 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 kill the chroma, kill the chroma, kill the chroma. There we go. Something like that's good enough. I would do more, but that's not what I want to focus on. I want to focus on like this belt up here. All right, so I want to tie these two together with this belt, and I'm just going to pull some orange through here to make this a nice leather belt. There's a lot of trinkets and little whatnots or whatever on this belt. There's a lot of chroma in there that I don't want. Can't be that bright. But I'm working on a color more than anything, right? So I'm going to come in now with my yellow and just make some definitions here. And I'm not going to try to hit my highlighted areas here. But basically, I'm just going to use some lines and do some stuff. And you may want to come in and say some of these little babbles and things on her belt are different colors. I get that, that'd be cool. I'm not going to worry about that. I am going to do this buckle. Maybe put the yellow here, up there, down here, and then we'll let it be that. Okay, so we did that, and now, is it orange? Yeah, it's brown. It is orange, I guess, but it's what brown is, so let's let it be that. Now, like I said, I would come in with black and do this, but you can come in with your dark brown and get a really nice look. We're not aiming for, you know, museum quality stuff right now. We're trying to learn. Remember, it ain't always pretty. You know, progress is ugly, 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 ugly. Now let's play around. Then we're gonna think about something. You got red. I think I put some here. Here we go. So let's think of some colors that are red. And I would call like the sepia. So let's go for that. That's like a leathery brownish. Let's call it brown. All right. But it kind of derives from red, which differentiates you from orange. So if you want some different contrast in your pictures, don't keep going with the same thing. Start thinking of alternative that you can use for your browns. So now I'm going to come in with this red here, right? And if you wanted to get all, you know, crazy with it, you could come in with your, this would be a good area to actually come in with your magenta and play around with that, because as you cruise around with magenta, you'll start to, you'll see it go from that yellow, you know, using yellow and magenta, you'll see it hit that orange leather look, right? But then as you push forward with your a little bit more magenta, you'll push it to that red color, and then you can take that dark and push it to that leathery brown color. So right now we're just using red in here, and it's going to give us something else. So we're learning a little bit about some leathers and stuff like that. And now when you start to take away the chroma from this by using a darker color, we can use black, which I'm very tempted to go ahead and do just to show some things, right? So now I'm going to come in with my black, and I've got to be really on it. That's why it takes a little bit longer to learn to use this black in your images. There we go. And we're going to split up the light and the dark. Now we're going to just bust that chroma down, staying out of our lighter areas there. Let's go ahead and it's going to push back here where it's going to be a lot darker. There we go. So we push this back. Push. We killed the chroma, right? Yeah, the chroma it just went kaput. It's done. So now we're going to come back and we're going to give it a little kiss with some more chroma. We need to pick it up in some of these areas, and that's okay. We really whacked it down here. Let's come back. There we go. Give it some love. There we go. There. So now it's something else, right? I can come in with, let's say, grab that yellow again. I don't know how I have these colors right in front of me and can never find them. Yellow. Roll call. Where are you? Oh, easy. I don't think you're the one. Oh, there you go. Nice. I like my pencils to lay back here, even when I'm, you know, coming back. As I get closer to the tip, you know, you're really doing some definitions. Run back here because I'm not trying to make any huge statements. This is my whisper. I'm just whispering. I just want to whisper you into here, give you something, right? Zip, 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 zip. There we go. There. So we did something, right? Just while I'm on it, not to leave anybody just hanging, the other step that I would take, and I need to order some more of these, but I don't know if I have any more. I don't think I do. I'm due for an order. I'm down to nubs on a lot of my colors, but that's why I use Prismacolor. All right. So now this right here, this goldenrod is your buddy. When you're dealing with gold, I find that this goldenrod is a really good friend, and you can just kind of hang out next to the shadowy areas with it and use it to knock out some of that yellow, which you don't need. But for some reason in our minds, yellow is going to be our gold. We're just going to come in and put some in here, right? We're not trying to get all artistic and artsy and stuff. We're just kind of throwing some in there. And our next friend to a gold color would be that dark brown. I'd come in with some something like that right there, and come in with the dark brown and really play out the make sure it's sharp. Come in and then start, you know, nailing down some of the darker. And if you can hang next to the light areas with your dark, like put a line across there, maybe there. You can come in here and play. Knock that chroma down. But anyway, so you can see kind of where that went. And anyway, but I hope you enjoyed this. Just kind of simple lessons to get you a little closer to some goals if you have them. I didn't play around up here too much. Let's go ahead and just let's set this off, because we really need this face to stand on its own for a second. It's hard to make something stand out without everything around it. So basically what I would do now, my next step, and I always say, oh, thanks for watching, and then I go into another 30 minutes of discussion, but I think it's important. I think we need to frame the face a little bit better. So we can come in with our, this is sand, and it's yellow. We'll say, okay, that's the hue, the color is sand. So we're gonna take this yellow, right? And we're gonna work on a blonde hair. And we're just gonna come in and start making a little bit of definitions on what this is, you know, what is the blonde gonna look like. So now, same thing applies. Now we're cruising around here with this blonde, let's say, and in the shadows, what's gonna happen to the chroma? It's gonna dive down. In the light areas, what's gonna happen? You know, what's gonna happen? It's gonna dive down also. So the chroma always takes a hit whenever you add light or dark to it. Notice what's happening. It's going up here, it's going into what I like to call, it's like an ochre. If you take that yellow and you add black to it, it goes to almost like a greenish ochre color, right? Because you got to think of what is black. Black has a lot of blue, so black sits off to the side of the blue. So black, you know, here's blue, right? Here, let's say. Now, if you take blue and you add the red and the yellow to it, zip, zip, it'll start going, yeah, to a black. Oh, Chroma flow. I am surprised that you broke. I was giving it hell, but okay. But as blue starts getting everybody else involved in his situation, he's going to dive down into a black. You're going to go first to like that indigo color. Think about indigo. You know, how close is indigo to black? I'm sure you grabbed it before thinking you had your black pencil, but oh gosh, it was blue. It was indigo. Well, black is just a little bit more intense. It is an indigo on all the other colors, let's say. So it pushes into blacks. That's why, so blue pushes to black, red pushes to, let's call it sepia, orange pushes to those browns, and then yellow pushes over into an ochre, which is more like a green ochre because of the black. The black affects it really. So just keep that in mind, because if you think about color, I'm using sand, but if you think about hue, it's yellow, right? So we know we have to say what happens when yellow and black come together. Well, they kind of want to go green. So just keep that in mind when you're going around with your colors. And this is, okay. This is where tough love comes in. If you think that color theory is too much to tackle, this, what I'm going over right here, is so basic. This is the basics of art. This is the basics of color. I am not explaining it fully or in any advanced or technical means. This is what I'm telling you now is the ground zero basics of color theory. I am not going off on a tangent. Trust me, it sounds like it because it is a very daunting thing. And what's going to happen is eventually, if you actually try to stick to it, it'll all come together. One day you're going to be there, and all of a sudden you're going to be using orange for your skin tones, and it's going to be working for you. You're going to be using blacks and getting those browns. You're going to be using your orange instead of brown to get to a nice leathery color. So, and you're going to be shying away from hitting everything with white to correct whatever you think you're correcting, but you're not. You're just pushing further into further down a rabbit hole you're not going to be able to escape unless you start taking color theory a little bit serious. A little bit. This is the basics right here. All right. So we're yellow, right? We're calling it yellow. We're working on hues first. We're picking a color that matches where we want to go. So now I want to start maybe coming in with some cream, which is just a lighter yellow, right? And start coming in and touching some areas here. There we go. And I want to use cream. I want to use cream back here more than anywhere. Right in these really, where I really need some definitions. I need to pick up that chroma back here. This cream will actually help you do that in these shadows. And I did a video on this, what to do in the dark areas, if you want to look at that video. And so we got that. Now let's go and we're still in, we're right in between that orange and yellow. We're in that zone right now. So we're gonna we're gonna reach over to orange and say, hey, you're our neighbor. You know, you got a cup of sugar. I'm running out. We need something in some of these areas right here. So we're gonna use our neighbor to help us out. There we go. Right in those really dark areas back there. We're gonna use this guy right here. We're gonna borrow from our friend next door. Kind of pull some in because we want a little bit of something, you know what I'm saying? You want that in there. There it is right there. Because without this, you know, now our yellows that we were using aren't so yellow anymore. They kind of moved just because this guy's next door. Kind of pushed some stuff on us. There we go. Let's put that there. And I'm not trying to be all straight up doing circles and stuff. I just need it in there, right? There we go. We're gonna give like a halo around it, especially hit this halo-y area around her face to kind of bring that brightness up. All right. Now we can take our dark brown. We can come in now with our dark brown and start pushing in, pushing away, push away, push away, get away from me. Get down in that little spot where you're supposed to be, right? Start controlling where everything's at. You get back, you get back, you get back. Get away. Don't need you being this. Can't be this bright, right? So we can start pushing some of these. And as we push this away, we bring this closer, a little bit closer to us. So we can push some more back here. And I don't care where it's at, and I'm not worried about any kind of lines that you know, the contours or anything like that. I don't care. I want you back in the shadows. I want you down, 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 away, away, away. Get away. Go to where you're supposed to be. There you go. There you go. I know you're all pretty and bright in some of these areas, but you don't belong. You're out of there. There we go. So there. We kind of pushed and pulled and did all kinds of stuff to it, but we did it very simply. Simple colors. Didn't break out the 250 set or anything like that. We just basically used a little bit of color theory. So this is the one I was working on beforehand, kind of messing around, you know. So you can see that it does play through. This one actually looks a little bit better, I think, on the hair. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helps, and I hope it doesn't confuse you any. I'm actually going to start doing live colorings where we're not too much worried. It's going to be more like a question and answer kind of thing, to where, you know, hey, I did this and this happened, and how do I get to here kind of thing. And then what I plan to do is kind of start pulling out some of these little color things, and then we'll mess around together, and I'll show you, hey, do this. And if you can print out you some little you know, little pages with some circles or whatever size you want. I found these on Etsy, works great. So I would like to thank my buddy Jeff for allowing me to use his books on my channel, and Ledge Easton, that's where I got this. I call him Jeff. Yeah, he uses another pseudo for his stuff. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps. Any questions, you can go down in the comments. I always check my comments. So any questions or any concerns you have about color, you know, throw it down there. I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional artist. I just like playing with the color. Thank you.